This video uses exercises that illustrate the Polestar Pilates Principles. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off with emphasizing principle number 1, which is breathing. So we inhale to lengthen the spine and go into a little bit of extension, and then we exhale to round the spine and go towards flexion. Roll down into the hundreds position and start to breathe in for 5 and breathe out for 5. So this is a really great position to emphasize breathing into the back of the lungs. Really great exercise to improve your circulation and to get the heart rate up by pumping your arms and breathing vigorously. You'll notice that your whole body feels warm. Great exercise to have in the beginning of your class. Now, although we're emphasizing breathing, we still have principle number 2, which is axial elongation and core control. In axial elongation and core control, we think about length throughout the spine, and by keeping the torso still and stable and mobilizing the hip joint, we also emphasize hip disassociation. So here I'm doing a self-tactile cue of fingertips on the hip bones, thumbs on the lowest rib, and that helps you to get a sense of keeping the distance between the hips and the ribs the same. So we have the feeling of length in the spine throughout the movement, and as you're doing this movement, scan your body and make sure you can feel that your lower back is lengthened on the mat. Now, you might not feel the whole of your spine on the mat, but you'll certainly feel the back of your head, the rib cage, and the sacrum on the mat, and then the lower back is gently imprinted into the mat. Now, we're still emphasizing axial elongation and core control, but now we're changing it into a different position that requires more proprioception. So now we're doing the quadruped. So we exhale and reach the arm and the leg away while maintaining that feeling of length throughout the spine. I'm still giving breathing cues. So we're adding in the cue of breathing. We're adding in the principle of breathing with the cues for axial elongation and core control. Think of keeping long from the tip of the tailbone to the crown of the head. And then lower down into the push-up position. And we're ready to do the exercise prone press-up. So here I'm starting to emphasize organization of the head, neck and shoulders. So I'm thinking of keeping the distance between the ears and the shoulders the same. And I'm inhaling to the lowest rib. So I haven't lost the principle of breathing. I'm thinking of the length between the crown of the head right down to the heels. So I'm keeping the principle of axial elongation and core control as well. Now then we can start to add in spine articulation. So I'm thinking of peeling the front of the spine off the mat. So we inhale to lengthen the spine, exhale to press up into a long extended position. So we have the spine articulation of peeling the front of the spine off the mat. We're emphasizing breathing. We're still keeping the distance between the ears and the shoulders and still keeping the length throughout the spine. The next spine articulation exercise is the Mermaid. So inhale to grow taller, exhale to reach up and over in a really long curve. So now we're getting spine articulation in lateral flexion, and we've moved into the frontal plane. The first exercises I did were all in the sagittal plane. Now I'm going into the transverse plane by adding in the rotation. come on up into a long sit position for the spine twist. And now I'm doing spine articulation in the transverse plane, but still emphasizing breathing, axial elongation, core control, and organization of the head, neck, and shoulders. Then we repeat the mermaid on the other side. Inhale to grow taller. Exhale to go up and over into a side bend, thinking of opening the ribs like a fan. This is a great exercise to take compression from the lumbar spine by mobilizing the thoracic spine. Keep the length from the tip of the tailbone to the crown of the head. Emphasize the breathing as you exhale and rotate. Squeeze all the air out of your lungs. And then inhale to grow taller through the center. Exhale to the other side. Continue with spine articulation. With the assisted roll-up. So we're revisiting the exercise from the beginning of the video. So we're emphasizing breathing, axial elongation, core control. And there's still the shoulder organization, keeping the distance between the ears and the shoulders, and then roll on down to bridging. Bridging's a great example of spine articulation. It's quite easy to have the feeling of lifting each bone one at a time from the mat. We've still got the emphasis of breathing. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, peel the spine off the mat. Pause for a second. And then exhale with a sigh as the spine softens down back onto the mat. Still thinking of length throughout the spine. Stretch out the arms, stretch out the legs. Come on into the roll-up. You might notice that if you do exercises like bridging, mermaid, and the swan, it'll improve your roll-up or your client's roll-up. You might have noticed in the beginning of this video, my roll-up, I needed to use my hands, but now I can start to roll up with a nice smooth spine or smooth movement through the spine. The next principle I'm emphasizing is weight bearing through the upper and lower extremities. So with leg pull front, you think of keeping the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists in one line, and emphasize that the bony part of the elbows faces out, soft part of the elbows faces in. And with the lower extremities, think of keeping the heels and the sit bones in one line, or think of the hip bones, the ASIS, the center of the kneecap and the second toe all in one line. And then we sit down ready for movement integration with the twist. So the twist is a combination of several different movements. So we have the side bending and the rotation from the mermaid, and we have the upper extremity weight bearing from the leg pull front. We have spine articulation. We have organization of the head, neck, and shoulders. And of course, we have breathing. So exhale to rotate around. Inhale to reach long. Squeeze all the air out of your lungs. Then reach up towards the sky. Turn to the other side. And then press the floor away. Make a really long line from the crown of the head right down to the heels. Reach the fingertips long. Exhale as you go over. Inhale to reach towards the sky. Exhale and twist. and use your eye gaze to follow the hands. Remember, where the eyes go, the spine will follow. And exhale, squeeze all the air out of your lungs, and then come on back down to a sitting position. So these are just some of the exercises we could use to illustrate the principle.